Good afternoon, teacher. Today we are going to present respiratory systems in humans and animals. My name is Liu Entong.
My name is Deng Hui Man.
My name is Phoebe Chan Yixin.
My name is Al Amber.
We are from 4 Science 1. Now we are going to compare and contrast respiratory structure of human and animals. The breathing system of insects is the tracheal system. Spiracles allows the intake of air into tracheal tubes. The trachea branches out to form tracheole. Large number of tracheoles provide a large total surface for the exchange of gases. Thin and moist tracheal wall allow oxygen and carbon dioxide can diffuse in and out quickly. Insects like grasshopper and cockroach, transportation of gas take place in this tracheal system. The diagram shows tracheal system. Gills. Gills are made up of filament that supported by gill arch. Filament has many thin and flat lamellae. Large number of filaments and lamellae gives a large total surface area for an efficient gaseous exchange process. Thin lamellae membrane which supply with many blood capillaries provide easy absorption and transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide. A majority of aquatic animals like fish and prawns breathe through gills. The diagram shows how fish breathe through gills.
Human respiratory structures. The human respiratory structures is the alveolus. The characteristics of alveolus: a large number of alveoli in the lung provide large surface area for the diffusion. It is always moist so that the respiratory gas such as oxygen and carbon dioxide can dissolve and diffuse easily. It is surrounded by a large network of blood capillaries to hasten diffusion. It is with a thin wall which is thick as one cell. This diagram shows the human respiratory structures. Plasma membrane. In unicellular animals such as amoeba, exchange of gases take place through cell surface. They absorb oxygen from surrounding air or water and give out carbon dioxide through plasma membrane by diffusion. Skin. Tapeworms, earthworms, and leeches use their skin for exchange of gases. Their skin are very thin and moist. Many blood cells, which known as blood capillaries, spread on skin. Lungs. Amphibians, mammals, and birds exchange gases through special respiratory organs called lungs. It is air-filled sac-like structures in the chest cavity. They are connected to the outside by a series of tubes and small openings.
Similarities and differences between the respiratory structure of humans and animals. Similarities is all respiratory structures have a large total surface area for an efficient exchange of respiratory gases. Besides, all respiratory structures are thin and this makes the diffusion of respiratory gases faster. Lastly, all respiratory structures are moist to allow respiratory gas dissolve in it.
Differences. In insects, fish, and frogs and humans, the respiratory structures are different. In insects, they use trachea for respiratory. To increase the volume for the respiratory structure achieved, there is a large number of trachea. Fish, filament and lamellae is the respiratory structures, and large number of filaments and lamellae is used. In frogs, skin and lungs is used, and the surface in lungs is folded overall skin surface. Humans use alveolus, and it is large number of alveoli.
Now we are going to talk about the breathing mechanisms of humans and animals. First, we are going to talk about the breathing mechanism of fish, of insects. The rhythmic expansion and contraction of the abdominal wall help to drive the air in and out of the body. Each spiracle is controlled by a system of valves operated by the tiny muscles. The level of carbon dioxide in the body determines the size of the spiracle's aperture. Some insects, such as grasshoppers, have air sacs connected to the trachea that can pump air throughout the tracheal system. During expansion, air is drawn into the trachea through the spiracles, and during contraction, the body is flattened, the volume of the trachea is decreased, and air is forced out. Next, we are going to talk about the breathing mechanisms of fish. Fish breathes by opening its mouth. When it is opening its mouth, floor of mouth is lowered. The volume of mouth is increased. The pressure inside the mouth falls below that of the external pressure. Water with high concentration of oxygen enters through the operculum. Floor of the mouth is raised up. Gaseous exchange occurs as water flows past the gills. The pressure in the mouth is increased. Lastly, water passes out through the operculum. This is the diagram of breathing mechanism of a fish.
Next, we are going to discuss the breathing mechanism of frogs. Frogs respire through 4 different organs, which is the gills, lungs, skin, and mucous lining of mouth that have moist surface and a good supply of the blood capillaries. The tadpoles breathe through the skin and gills, while the adult frog breathes through lungs, skin, and mucous lining of mouth. The lung sacs inside the frog have many folds inside to increase the respiratory surface. In the process of inhalation, when the frog breathes through the nostrils, the mouth and glottis are closed and the floor of the buccopharyngeal cavity is lowered. The low air pressure in the mouth cavity draws air into the buccopharyngeal cavity through the nostrils. When the glottis opens, the nostrils close and the floor of the buccopharyngeal cavity is raised. The increased air pressure pushes air into the lungs. The process of exhalation. When the lungs contract, air is expelled from the lungs. This is helped by the abdominal pressure and the elasticity of the lungs. Some air is expelled through the nostrils while the rest is mixed with the air in the buccopharyngeal cavity. This is the diagram of the breathing mechanism of frog. Next, the breathing mechanism of humans. Humans consist of a series of tube-like structures connecting a pair of lungs. There are nasal passage, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, and alveoli inside our bodies. The lungs is a large sac-like organ made up of mainly the bronchioles, alveoli, and a network of blood capillaries. There are 2 lobes inside the left lung and 3 lobes in the right lung. Each lung is packed with 1.5 to 2.5 million of alveoli. In the process of inhalation, the external intercostal muscles contract while the internal intercostal muscles relax. This action causes the rib cage to move upwards and outwards. At the same time, the diaphragm muscles contract and the diaphragm moves downwards to become flat and horizontal. Both mechanisms cause the volume of the thorax cavity to increase and the pressure of the thorax cavity decreases. The higher atmospheric pressure from outside air into the lungs. During the process of exhalation, The external intercostal muscles relax while the internal intercostal muscles contract. This action causes the ribcage to move downwards and inwards. At the same time, the diaphragm muscles relax and the diaphragm curves upwards to form a dome. Both movements cause the volume of the thoracic cavity to reduce and the pressure of the thorax cavity to increase. Air is pushed out of the lungs. The diagram shows the breathing mechanism of humans.
There are many similarities between breathing mechanisms in humans and animals. The similarities are humans and animals have special muscular structures to expand and contract the respiratory cavity.
Besides, the breathing mechanism involves changes in the volume and pressure in the respiratory cavity. There are many differences between insects, fish, frogs, and humans. For the insects, their respiratory aperture is the spiracle, and the structure that helps them to breathe is the thorax and the abdomen. The breathing mechanism of insects is assisted by the contraction and relaxation of abdominal muscles. And for the fish, the respiratory aperture is the mouth and operculum. The structure that helps them to breathe is operculum and muscular floor of buccal cavity. Their breathing mechanism is assisted by movements by the floor of the buccal cavity and operculum.
For frogs, their respiratory aperture is the nostrils, and the structure that helps them breathe is the muscular buccopharyngeal wall. And their breathing mechanism is assisted by the rapid movement of the buccopharyngeal cavity floor and elasticity of the lungs. Lastly, for humans, the respiratory aperture is their nostrils. The structure that helps them to breathe is the diaphragm, ribcage, and intercostal muscles. Their breathing mechanisms is assisted by the contraction and relaxation of the intercostal muscles and the diaphragm muscles, as well as the movement of the ribcage upward, outward, downward, and inward. Thank you.